keep late. Yeah, I'm going.
Okay, so what are the goals and strategies of this event?
All right, so the goal of this event is to start the conversation about what Occupy is, what Occupy isn't, but also what students can do outside of, the voting box, right? So how can we become citizens in a democracy? How do we get our voices heard? And it's also to build consensus, to correct misperceptions, because I feel like, the Occupy movement is, oh, they're hippies, or, it's just like kids without jobs. No, they're students, they're cops, they're firefighters, they're moms, they're teachers, they're nurses, they're pilots. I saw one picture of a Marine. He was holding a piece of cardboard that said, "Second time I fought for my country, first time I've known my enemy." So it's like, there's a lot of powerful imagery out there, and I'm a graduate student. I'm not a radical. I'm just a normal person trying to shift we're also trying to shift the narrative so that it's not, we don't blame wealth. We're not mad at rich people just for being rich. We just want them to pay the taxes they're supposed to, So we want to fund education. So yeah, the goal of the event was to bring people together, to raise awareness, and also to show people how to participate. And what was the second part? Other than goals?
Just kind of some of the goals that you hope to reach, hope to accomplish.
So yeah, and this generated press, which is good. But yeah, correcting misperceptions.
Is there any sort of leadership that exists, and how that kind of happened, or is it just kind of one big movement?
Right. As far as just to this, or to all the occupiers,
either one.
Yeah. Well, I think it's not leader. They're trying to stay away from leadership roles. They don't really want leaders because I feel like they're worried that it'll be co-opted, or that they'll be misrepresented, or the spokesperson might take it another way. So their big thing is that they want every voice to be heard, so that voices don't become drowned out, and that all grievances can be brought. Now, the downside to that is that without leadership, you can lose steam, and you don't have a clear message. Because there's so many people involved, it's tough to have a clear message that, all right, this is the one sentence that represents. Instead, it's more of, let's bring all of our grievances and try to find common ground. And I think the common ground that they found is that they just want people to start paying taxes again.
In your opinion, what do you think a victory would look like in this situation?
Good question. What would a victory? Well, if the movement would be able to pressure our legislature and our political institutions to actually represent us, because representation isn't really there right now. For instance, a victory would be reenactment of the Glass-Steagall Act. So that was something that basically deregulated Wall Street, which caused this. So I think a victory is kind of tough to quantify or qualify, but basically to see the demands, and OccupyWallStreet.org, they have demands. There's 20 bullet points, and they want campaign finance reform. They want to get rid of student debt. So there's a lot of little victories, but the overall victory would be that we're actually represented democracy.
Do you feel like they use traditional electoral politics to push for change, or something different?
Yeah, I think they will. I think this will kind of build up to the elections next year, especially as the campaign becomes more polarized, where you have the right and the left and the middle. Everyone's going to kind of separate into their spheres. But I think what's cool about this is that it's all inclusive. So it's more about shifting the center away from the right, because that's where they don't want people to drift towards not taxing or not funding public services. They want banks to pay what they should. ExxonMobil didn't pay any taxes last year. They're the richest company in the country, in the world, and $1 billion would save California's education system. $1 billion. It might sound like a lot of money, but it's not. So I think I forgot the question.
Oh, just kind of Are you using traditional electoral
Yeah,
politics?
so yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it'd be a mistake not to. I think, anytime you have a movement, you want to use all measures available to you. So it's not just voting, it's not just street art, it's not just teachers, it's not, there's not one answer. There's a lot of answers that all kind of help.
Do you guys have any other questions?
Yeah, if you were put into power today, into office, what would you do to change it?
If I was put in power today, what would I do to change what?
Say you were, on California State Senate, what would you try and pass in the state?
Well, I'm a firm believer in education. I feel like education is the basis for an informed citizenry. And good. So I think that's the first priority that we need to take care of is education. Make sure that our teachers have the resources so that class sizes don't go up, so that students aren't going into debt. Because I feel that, again, education leads to opportunity. So if we're not giving our students opportunity and we're enslaving them in debt, then that's when we're going to lose. So that would be my first thing. Reform campaign finance, because money in politics is just totally drowning out your voice as a generation. Third, I would probably put more students on the board of trustees of the universities and more teacher voice, more of a teacher voice, because I feel that, they often write young people off like, oh, they don't have any ideas, they don't know what they're talking about. But you are smart, and you do have a voice, and you do know how it could be run. So maybe democratize our institutions so that it's more representative. And then, reform taxes, because right now there's so many loopholes. We don't want to raise taxes because we know that's like a big no, right? Like, oh man, pay for
Then you can't cut them.
Yeah. So, obviously that's going to be a tough debate, but there's a lot that we could do with taxes and just closing the loopholes so that, if a company is supposedly based in the Cayman Islands, they're still paying. We don't even, we could tax internet poker, which is $1 billion industry, and those could pay for services, Amazon and stuff like that. So obviously with globalization, economies have changed. So how do we reform our tax structure to reflect and to support public services? In the 50s, we had a Republican president, tax corporations 90%, and that's what paid for your roads. Now it's 35%, and if you try to raise it, it's like, whoa, and they want to keep cutting it because they think that trickle-down economics, that somehow magically people will start hiring people. It really does take a stimulus package that is people-centered instead of let's bail out the banks. I mean, imagine if we took, $750 billion and eliminated student debt. So I think there's definitely, I would reprioritize things so that we were taking care of future generations instead of penalizing them.
I have a question, just not like. Okay, never mind.
No.
Okay, if you're doing this for the students and stuff, why don't you think you have a bigger outcome than this? Why don't they publicize it more or something?
Well, this was just on the fly. So this was publicized within a week. I'm surprised we got anybody. And it's tough because there's some pushback. Anytime you want to publicize something, you have to get permission. You have to file a permit. It's between 1 and 2. You can't make noise. So the culture of the university has changed where free speech is actually limited, and it's actually hard to get your voice out there. So it's kind of an on-the-fly thing, let's do something. And, with our culture, people are always worried about, the measurement of success. So everyone wants, this huge rally, and it's wow, did you see those 10,000 people? Success. To me, it's more about even if 5 people show up, that's 5 people that wouldn't have shown up, that wouldn't have learned. They might tell 10 people. They might register to vote and then register their family to vote. So the spillover effect is really tough to measure. But yeah, I mean,